A lot of people ask why someone might run 5W30 in the summer and 0W20 in the winter, and honestly, for many drivers that combo works really well because it lines up with how engines actually experience temperature changes throughout the year. On paper, it might sound like you're supposed to stick with one oil forever, but real-world driving is a little more flexible than that. Even though manuals often push 0W20 as the only option, there's more context behind those recommendations. And once you understand it, the whole thing makes much more sense. One of the biggest reasons people get confused is because the exact same car, with the same engine and same components, can have different oil recommendations depending on where it's sold. In the United States, a manual might say 0W20 only, but that very same engine in Japan, Australia, or parts of Europe may list 5W30 or even 10W30 as perfectly acceptable. It feels strange at first because you'd expect engineering to be universal, but the truth is that oil choices are influenced by a bunch of factors working together, not just mechanical needs. At first glance, it's easy to assume climate is the main reason. After all, colder places need oil that flows better during startup, right? But when you really think about it, that explanation doesn't fully hold up. If climate alone dictated oil choice, then hot states and cold states within the same country would have different official recommendations, yet they usually don't. Florida and Minnesota often get the same oil spec, even though their temperatures couldn't be more different. So while climate does matter, it's only part of the story. A much bigger piece of the puzzle comes from fuel economy regulations, especially in the United States. Automakers here have to meet strict fleet-wide efficiency targets, and even small gains matter. Thinner oils like 0W20 help reduce internal engine resistance, which allows engines to spin more freely. That reduction in friction can slightly improve fuel economy during standardized testing, and those small improvements add up across an entire lineup of vehicles. Because of that, manufacturers often lean towards thinner oils when certifying cars for sale. That doesn't mean 0W20 is a bad oil, though. In fact, it's excellent at what it's designed to do. It flows quickly at startup, protects well in moderate conditions, and supports modern engine designs that focus on efficiency. But although it shines in those areas, thicker oils like 5W30 bring their own advantages, especially when engines are operating at higher temperatures or under heavier loads. That's why different regions prioritize different viscosities based on what matters most in that market. To really understand this, it helps to break down what those oil numbers actually mean. The first number, followed by the W, describes how the oil behaves in cold conditions. The lower the number, the easier it flows when the engine is cold. That's helpful for winter starts and quick lubrication. The second number describes how thick the oil remains once the engine is fully warmed up. A higher number means the oil maintains a stronger protective film when things get hot. So when you compare 0W20 and 5W30, the main difference isn't just cold weather performance. At operating temperature, 5W30 stays noticeably thicker, which can provide extra protection during long drives, heavy traffic, or high-speed cruising. That's why many markets that experience higher sustained temperatures or more demanding driving conditions often favor 5W30. It's not about one oil being better overall, but about matching the oil to how the vehicle is actually used. Modern engines are also built with very tight tolerances, which allows them to run efficiently on thinner oils. This design approach helps engines warm up faster and operate smoothly, especially when they're new. But although engines are precisely engineered, they're not static machines. Over time, normal wear slightly increases clearances inside the engine. When that happens, a slightly thicker oil can help maintain the same level of protection the engine had when it was new. That's why many experienced technicians suggest adjusting oil choice as a vehicle ages. It's not a drastic change or a sign something is wrong. It's simply adapting to the natural life cycle of the engine. A car that ran beautifully on 0W20 when it was new may feel even smoother and more stable on 5W30 after years of use, especially in warmer environments. This kind of adjustment is about long-term care, not fixing a problem. Heat, in particular, plays a major role in oil performance. While people often associate thinner oils with cold climates, a lot of the stress on engine oil actually comes from summer driving. Long commutes, stop-and-go traffic, highway speeds, and hot ambient temperatures all push oil temperatures higher. In those conditions, oils that maintain viscosity more effectively can provide consistent protection for longer periods. That's one reason why manufacturers often list multiple acceptable oil grades in markets where regulations allow more flexibility. In regions where fuel economy rules aren't as strict, automakers can openly recommend oils that prioritize durability and stability in high heat. It's reassuring to know that these engines are designed to handle a range of viscosity safely, because it means drivers have options that suit their environment and driving habits. Another interesting factor is how the vehicles are certified for sale. Once an engine is tested and approved with a specific oil grade, that recommendation becomes part of the official documentation. Changing it later isn't simple, even if engineers know other options work just as well. Because of that, manuals tend to stick with the original certification oil, while service notes quietly allow alternatives when conditions call for them. This flexibility exists because the engineering supports it. When you look at real-world testing and long-term use, it becomes clear that both oils have strengths. Engines running 0W-20 often deliver excellent efficiency and smooth operation, especially in everyday driving. Meanwhile, engines using 5W-30 tend to show strong stability during extended high-temperature operation. The difference in fuel economy between the two is usually quite small, but the added protection of a slightly thicker oil can be valuable over time, depending on how and where you drive. Oil quality also matters just as much as viscosity. A high-quality synthetic oil with a strong additive package can outperform a lower-quality oil of a thicker grade. Detergents, anti-wear additives, and base oil composition all influence how well an oil protects an engine. That's why choosing a reputable, well-formulated oil is more important than focusing on numbers alone. When quality is high, both 0W-20 and 5W-30 can deliver excellent results. It's also worth clearing up a common misunderstanding about the W rating. While it does relate to cold performance, it doesn't determine how the oil behaves when the engine is hot. At operating temperature, oils with the same second number perform similarly regardless of their winter rating. So the decision between 0W-20 and 5W-30 is less about winter versus summer and more about how much protection you want when the engine is fully warmed up. Interestingly, many professionals take this into account when maintaining their own vehicles. They follow manufacturer guidelines for customers, but for personal cars, they often choose oils that align with their climate and driving style. This isn't about ignoring recommendations, but about applying practical knowledge gained from experience. The small differences in efficiency are often outweighed by the confidence that comes with long-term stability. So, what's the best choice? It really depends on how you drive and where you live. If your trips are short, temperatures are moderate, and your car is relatively new, 0W-20 is a great option that delivers smooth performance and efficiency. But if you drive longer distances, experience higher temperatures, or have a vehicle with some mileage on it, 5W-30 can offer added peace of mind and consistent protection. The key takeaway is that modern engines are designed to be versatile. The same engine running safely on different oils around the world proves that flexibility is built into the design. Choosing the oil that matches your real-world conditions isn't risky or reckless. It's thoughtful, informed, and aligned with how engineers actually test these engines globally. Just like a highly anticipated sequel that builds on a strong first installment, the future of modern engines looks solid because the foundation is already there. These engines are built to last, and with the right oil choice, they're well positioned for many reliable miles ahead. Thinking ahead and making informed decisions is what keeps everything running smoothly, both now and down the road. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.